Today, I am going to give you 4 tips to motivate you to help practice the banjo. Oh, I just thought of another one. Hang on. Today, I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you stay motivated to practice the banjo. Hello, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for pushing that play button. If you're interested in tips and tricks of how to play the banjo, this is the channel for you. Please consider hitting that subscribe button because I put out banjo videos at least once a week. Alright guys, if you're like me, you struggle sometimes with motivation to practice your banjo. It gets monotonous when you're trying to learn something, or if you're trying to do notes, or if you're trying to do this and that. It just gets hard. So today, I'm going to give you my 5 top tips that I use to help me stay motivated to practice the banjo. My very first tip seems like the most obvious, but listen to other people play the banjo. That will motivate you more than anything. There's a reason that you wanted to learn to play the banjo, and that's because you heard banjo music and it motivated you to want to start playing the banjo. So it makes sense that if you start listening to banjo music all the time, not all the time, but as much as you can, it will motivate you to play the banjo because you will hear other people playing the banjo and you'll be like, man, I want to do that. Tip number 2, guys, kind of goes along with tip number 1, but in the opposite end of the spectrum. Okay, if you are getting burnt out playing the banjo or practicing your banjo, take a week off. Don't even think about your banjo. Don't pick it up, don't look at it, don't think about it, don't listen to banjo music, don't do any of that. Of course, you know, they say absent makes the heart grow fonder. And I think that works the same way here, is if you take some time off from it and get away from it to where you don't feel like you're having to do it all the time, it'll grow that fondness back for you. Tip number 3, guys, is change your practice location. If you're used to practicing in one certain spot all the time for some reason, and I don't know why it is, I do this, I get tired of that spot. So what I will do is I've got a location down here right now where I'm at in my basement that I practice to stay away from everybody because of the noise. Of course, you know that's the big thing in practicing your banjo is the noise affects everyone. Also, I'll go outside on my back deck and I'll practice banjo outside, which is awesome because then your neighbors get to hear how fantastically great you are at playing the banjo. Sometimes I'll sit my banjo next to the couch upstairs. I'll actually have a muted banjo up there that I have either stuffed a towel in behind it or put a mute on it, something to really tone the banjo down where it isn't loud, where I can sit and play it or practice it. But I'll mute the strings. Like I'll put my hands on it to mute them. And then sit there and practice rolls at the couch, you know, at a different location than what I normally do. The last 2 kind of go together on this list, but they really don't because it's really 2 separate things, but it's mainly playing in front of people. Tip number 4 is play in front of your family and friends. Nothing will motivate you more wanting to practice your banjo than hearing a relative or a family friend or a wife or a father or a sister or somebody tell you, I thought you was better. I thought you was better at the banjo than that. You've been practicing a lot. You thought you was better. That will motivate you more than anything you will ever do in your entire life is to want to go home. I'll show you how good I am and practice and then go back the next week and wake them up on, never mind, that's a different story. All right guys, last but not least on the list is tip number 5, which is go to jam sessions. Be around other banjo players. Nothing will motivate you. I said that 15 times. It will motivate you to no end to play around other banjo players who are better than you are because you want to strive to get to as good as them. Also, you may pick up some tips and tricks that they may have, or like there might be a cool little lick that they have that you're like, man, that sounded pretty cool, and they'll show you how to do it, and then you'll go home and want to practice because I want to learn that lick. I want to figure out how to put this in that song, and you know, it just, your mind starts working. And that's really my main overflowing umbrella of thought process on this video is you've got to change your mindset. Like if you get stuck in one mindset, and if you notice all these things are getting you out of a mindset that you're in. Like if you go downstairs and you sit in a certain spot and you practice your banjo and you practice the same thing, like if you sit and practice the same chords, the same song, the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again, it's going to kill you as far as motivation. I mean, it just will. So what you've got to do is change your mindset up quite a bit, especially when you feel yourself getting that way. There's nothing wrong as long as you're staying motivated to do that as you're doing it. But as soon as you feel yourself getting burnt out, change your mindset. Like I said, try some of these tricks right here that I just gave you today to change that mindset, and it will help you practice your banjo a lot more, guys. Thank you all for watching. We will see you in the next video.